All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball and welcome to week 2 Sunday chat. So, obviously, you've seen what we did last week. We're gonna just get some news out, get our fantasy teams, and get back into get our next edition of our Cash or Trash. So, let's just get right into it. Christian, let's get started on the news segment.
Yeah, so let's kick it right off. Start with the most recent in the order from last week. Mike Williams, former receiver of the Buccaneers, he confirmed that he tragically passed away in a construction accident. This has been in the news for a couple of weeks now. First incident saying that he died. Second incident saying that he was perfectly fine, on life support. They took it off. He's doing great. But they just confirmed Mike Williams. He has passed away, and it is sad news for everybody. So condolences to his family.
Of course, always really rough to see former players passing away, and obviously, like you said, our condolences. But moving back into storylines for this week, started off with throughout the week, head coach of the Bears, Matt Eberflus, has been hinting at the fact that they were looking to keep Chase Claypool as a healthy and active. Obviously, it's been a rough going ever since he got traded to the Bears, and it was a really ugly showing against the Packers last week. So it was looking like he was probably just going to get benched, and I don't know, probably his time with the team coming to an end eventually. But news just recently came out from Schefter that he is going to be active, so he will be an option against the Buccaneers today. Depending on anyone who has him on fantasy, do with that what you would like, but don't expect him to get too much production today, to be honest. But I mean, he's an option for Fields if he needs him.
Yeah, we already saw his tragedy in week 1 last week, so let's see what he'll put up this week. Moving on now, with recent news from Friday, Alex Madison has received some derogatory and death threats and racist level insults after the performance after Thursday's game against the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that was just very unexpected to see the most. I mean, the fact that the Vikings even had to reach out, posting something about that they don't condone that. I mean, if you're a fan, that's just like unacceptable to do to a player. Like, even if they're on your fantasy team, like fantasy, I really doubt the players don't care about your fantasy team, and I think doing this is just way too out of hand. So it's very really unacceptable. And Alex Madison seems to be doing okay, but I know it's just very bad for him as we're looking at it.
Yeah, obviously it's just shameful for any fan to be taken that serious. At the end of the day, this is just a game. They're still human beings and have their own lives, so it's always tough to see that. But moving on, some big news for the Commanders. Let's see, their number 2 pick from a couple years back, Chase Young, will finally be making his season debut after dealing with an injury. He's dealing with a stinger for a while, and he has been cleared now, so he will be in the game against the Broncos. We saw that defense probably wasn't at their best with how we saw them against a pretty below par Cardinals team last week. So he'll definitely be a much welcome addition into this week's game and see what production he can give against that Broncos O-line.
He had some time off for a while, so let's see if he does his rookie shine from what he had a couple years ago. And moving on, some Cowboys news as well. La'el Collins, since he was released by the Bengals not too long ago, they're seeking a reunion with the Dallas Cowboys. I would honestly not be too mad about this. We saw La'el Collins, he was a monster with Dallas, and as soon as he left to Cincy, he really wasn't the same. And obviously after last week's performance with the Bengals, it looked very bad, but I'm pretty sure he can step back up if he does join the Cowboys, especially with our O-line issues. Tyler Smith, since Tyler Smith is out for his second game this year, La'el Collins could be a big step up for that offensive line.
Yeah, don't know how much production he really could give you, just seeing how much he's fallen off the past couple of years, but you never know what resurgence he can have. We've always seen it happen in the past, so we'll see what transpires there. But moving on to one last news piece, something very important to me that will let me transition into fantasy. Travis Kelce is back after just pretty rough knee hyperextension to keep him out week 1. He will be back along with Chris Jones after the holdout, who finally did reach a 1-year extension. Both of them are very big pieces that the Chiefs are gonna really be happy to have back against the Jaguars this week. Which, obviously we know playoff rematch is gonna be a really big game to talk about. But great to see the Chiefs are gonna have him back. And of course, transitioning into fantasy, I'll just get right into it with my team. We'll be up right here. So right off the bat, I know we already talked about him, but had to just give a quick mention. Alexander Mattison on my fantasy team didn't give me the best production, but never a point to go to the levels that some fans have gone. I did make a trade throughout this week. Got rid of Cam Akers and OBJ to bring in Ramondre Stevenson. He's obviously the Patriots running back one. I feel he's gonna be a pretty big addition. Finally have a running back that I feel can really give me more numbers. And I mean he's facing a tough defense with the Dolphins, but I feel he'll give me enough. Of course, Travis Kelce is gonna be a big addition for me. I'm finally adding him back into my starting lineup. We'll see what he can. Hopefully he just doesn't miss a beat with that Mahomes connection. And of course, my big waiver wire pickup. I know you're still salty about this. I got my guy. I got Puka Nacua. It's a big addition. I mean, obviously, especially knowing how Amari Cooper is expected to miss today. Really happy I got to pick up Puka, and hopefully he gives me some good production against the Niners today.
Yeah, so obviously you got a lot to deal with right now, especially with the players that you've been going through right now. So obviously now moving on to transition to my fantasy team, which is up on the screen right now. So obviously to kick right things off, Jordan Addison, I substituted him for George Pickens after George Pickens' blasphemy game of, I think it was about 8 points from, and I couldn't already. He had 1.6 almost the whole game. At least he got me that almost 9 points, thank God. But Jordan Addison, he got me 16. It was kind of a late game after getting that touchdown. It was nice. I was, expecting a touchdown earlier in the game. I remember texting you like, I need an Addison touchdown right now. What is he doing? Gets a touchdown right the next place. So obviously Addison, especially with Justin Jefferson at the one spot, he should get a little production here and there. But after that monstrosity Thursday nighter that just really couldn't pull off the win up against the Philadelphia Eagles. This should be a little setback there, 0-2, but hopefully Addison can step up for me. Next player, obviously Nick Chubb at my running back. They are playing the Steelers. Tough divisional matchup, but TJ Watt in that front seven is gonna really give Nick Chubb some work. But Nick Chubb after last week's game against Cincinnati, I guess from how both teams were looking like, I guess the front seven was kind of, balanced out. But I expect a pretty nice game from Nick Chubb since he is my key running back here. And then moving on to my next Cowboys defense. This defense got me on my fantasy win last week, especially coming against this Jets team. This Jets team is not a team to sleep on. Their defense is great. The offense, led by Zach Wilson, could be hit or miss, but this defense is not to sleep on. And especially with Dak Prescott in my lineup as well, I really expect him to be run tempo good as he usually does, and kick back, but obviously don't let the defense get underhand.
Of course, we'll see how that works for you, but we'll transition right into Cash or Trash. And obviously, just like last season, finally had something to talk about from last week, as on screen is our results from our week 1 picks. And Christian, you got the better of me on both picks. Tough to call on what was going to happen with Burrow and Lamar, but I mean, out of 2 horrible games, Lamar did do a little better, getting you 656. And for Trash, both our picks ended up doing better than our cash picks, and Desmond Ridder did do a little less for you, so you'll get it there. You're up 2-0 on the season so far, so I'll let you get it started with your picks at running back this week.
Yeah, so obviously with Cash and Trash, we transition positions as we usually do. So obviously starting off with mine, I got Christian McCaffrey. I know, going up against your Rams, your defense, looked great last week. And obviously, from looking at that, this could possibly be a test for the 49ers to see if, the Rams either improve or stay the same, or the Niners got better, obviously. And then obviously with that front seven that your Rams have, it's looking okay, especially with Aaron Donald leading that team. Expect a lot of double teams. I know McCaffrey's going to get help from him, but, still looking at the Niners team and that explosive offense, I still expect a big really big fantasy matchup here for himself against the Rams. And then moving on to my trash pick from the Ravens, I got Gus Edwards. This is kind of a big stretch here, even though he will be I would assume he would be the number one running back after the J.K. Dobbins injury last week. Prayers up to him. But I'm obviously looking at this run threat from the Ravens, especially how we saw last week against the Texans. Lamar's pretty much the runner for the team. Gus Edwards, he's pretty good, okay, for like goal line attempts and touchdowns like that. But to actually get active in the run game, I don't think Gus Edwards is gonna have a pretty big game this week.
I have some solid picks for you. Hopefully, your cash pick doesn't work in your favor. Just in my interest, but. I'll move into mine, which for my cash running back, I'm gonna have someone hopefully bouncing back from last week, Saquon Barkley. Obviously, we know he ran into just the top defense in the league last week, couldn't get nothing going, but they're facing the Cardinals this week. Sure, they did okay against the Commanders, but it's the Commanders, so I'm expecting a pretty big bounce back for him. Just hopefully that O-line does a little better than what they did last week, but if they get a little wake-up call for themselves, I definitely expect Saquon to go off for some big numbers today. And as for trash, this is another one that would obviously work in your favor. Can't bet against the Cowboys defense. I'm going with Dalvin Cook here. He's a great running back, don't get me wrong, but when you're facing a defense like that, I really expect him to just get stifled. Especially when we saw, obviously, the reason Rodgers probably, got into that injury. The Jets online does seem like a weak point for this team. So I don't expect too much production. I mean, sure, we saw great numbers for Breece Hall, but Cook was slow last week against a mediocre Bills defense. Now he's facing the top defense in the league. I just expect him to have a really slow production, but obviously that'll work in your favor. But of course, that'll wrap up Cash or Trash, and that'll wrap up this video overall. So not too much to say. We'll get this video closed out pretty quick. Just as I always end up saying, to just sit back and enjoy a nice long Sunday full of football. So just want to thank everyone for sticking around watching these videos, and we'll see you guys when we recap week 2.